Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I was scrolling through the South by agenda earlier, and I will ask for your forgiveness. I appreciate there are a ton of AI sessions going on, but I will say this is going to be one of the most impactful sessions specifically around the creator perspective and what that means for brands in terms of how AI is disrupting the creator economy. I'm the MC. My name is Tim. I work for Later. We focus on connecting brands and creators in the influencer marketing space. Hopefully you will hear as little as possible from me today. It's really to hear from these two guys. And then I'm going to pass over to them to introduce themselves. So Rene, let's start off with yourself. Give a bit of background.
Great. So I've been a creator on YouTube since 2008. And a couple of years ago, I went inside YouTube to help YouTube better understand creators. And then I work with creators to better understand YouTube. So Jon and I basically did a switcheroo.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and I used to work at YouTube for 5 years, and then worked at Instagram, and then became a full-time creator for the past 4 years. I've been growing a show where we do interviews, behind-the-scenes content. Now we have a team of 9, and it's just really, really fun to just grow and do everything as a creator that I learned on the inside, and just try to push the boundaries even more. So thank you, Rene. Thank you, Tim, for having me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we've got outside to inside, inside to outside. Both great perspectives. So clearly from the creation point of view, AI is being used around the ideation, copywriting, editing. There's a ton of different use cases. That's where I want to start off today. Jon, we're going to start off with you specifically. So when you look at your channel, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen over the last 2 years, specifically in terms of how AI has been disrupting some of those workflows?
I think what's really cool is that brand has never been more important in the age of AI, and I think you really got to get your reps out there. So to answer your question, one way I like to think about like how we use AI is there's a lot of amazing tools like inside YouTube that we use. We like to take a look at, okay, how did that video perform? And you have the analytics, but then there's a lot of great tools like the Ask Studio feature where we go and, okay, there's a dip here. Why did that dip happen? And it analyzes the comments, like the other data involved. So we try to be very granular about, okay, this could have been better. Do we mean to put the CTA of a newsletter right after the intro? No. Okay, we could improve that. So we've seen a lot of changes there. But I also think it's really cool. If you get a lot of content out there, a lot of these LLMs will get to know you as a brand. So now I could go into them and say, give me, here's what I'm thinking about writing. Can you put it in the words of Jon Youshaei? And the fact that there's a learning cycle there, or if there's people on my team that I want to get a first draft, there's so much writing that I've been able to do, or videos that I've been able to do, that my voice is something that I could prompt and get a response. And I think other people could do that too, but that's where I think the authenticity and building a brand and people coming to know, oh, this is what this creator is, or this is how that creator talks. So getting those reps in helps to inform the models, but also to get the output.
And Rene, obviously, technology, networks, everything is evolving rapidly. Really interested in on your perspective from the inside of YouTube. What are you specifically doing and the YouTube team to help creators work smarter and faster?
Yeah, absolutely. And to Jon's point, you do want that authenticity. You do want that brand awareness. In the age of digital music, what became important? Vinyl and real life moments. And for a creator, there's one thing that AI will never duplicate, and that's the spark, the magic, the creativity. AI is a cheat code, but it's not a cheat. It's there to help you. It's there to help you jam. It's there to help you iterate. And we're building tools like Ask Studio. I will never be someone who knows what a pivot table is. I will never be someone who exports a CSV file to look at my analytics, but Ask Studio will let me do that. Will let me understand in a deeply, strangely human way how I'm performing. It'll let me ask questions. It'll let me have a conversation. It will be that jamming partner for me.
It's a great point on the analytics. Jon, I know this is really big for you in terms of testing and iterating. How are you using some of the analytics to continue to improve the content you're putting out?
Well, I think the way you engage is a really great point from Rene, because how cool is it that we've gone from a website or something that everybody sees to now having a back and forth to get more answers to follow up. So yeah, I like to always think about people talk about the first mover advantage for a lot of these platforms, but I like to say we have the second mover advantage, where now that YouTube is in a mature state, we could take a look at what has performed well on the platform and take a look at what ideas have worked well, but then adapt it to our niche and to our channels. So I like to do that a lot with the different tools that are now in Studio, and even to the point where they generate thumbnail ideas, and it's just, I feel like it solves the first draft problem where you could get something that maybe is not going to be close to the end result, but just gets the wheels turning.
I could never make 100 thumbnails. I could make like 3, but now I can try those 100 thumbnails. I can get down to the 10 that are really good. I can find 3 that I like, and then I can test those. Yeah. It's really helpful with that process.
Absolutely. One of the other things with the influx of tooling and technology is there is also a lot of AI slop that's out there. And so clearly focusing on brand protection, platform integrity, I know is a really important thing for YouTube. So what are some of the things you're doing there?
Yeah, so YouTube, I think, is uniquely positioned because YouTube has such a long, rich history of things like fighting clickbait or fighting repetitive content, because people were making repetitive content before AI. AI, again, just increases that. And I think YouTube has tools in place to let us understand the not just the engagement, but the satisfaction is something that YouTube uniquely, I think, is positioned to do. The algorithm, all those things work on the satisfaction of the viewer. And I think that's our North Star, and that lets us handle this sort of thing.
Yeah. What about from your perspective, Jon? How do you ensure that the audience that you have or audiences that you have know that it's the real you?
I think that's where, like, starting like years ago, and I've only been a full-time creator for like 4 or 5 years now, but even those years before like AI became more prevalent, I think it helped establish all those things that our audience has come to expect, like the quality, the voice, like the fact that we'll look at every frame and think about the edits and all that. So if we do use AI, it'll just help amplify or get through some of those drafts faster. But I think for a lot of newer creators and brands, you got to think about, how do you consistently show up? How do you try something new? And then how do you get through more iterations of things with AI versus like relying on that from ground zero?
Yeah. Anything, Rene, from like the protection of IP and likeness of creators you want to add?
Yeah, so YouTube has a rich history in content ID. That was one of the things that allowed us to have such a great set of catalog of content on YouTube. And now we're working on likeness detection. So as a creator, you can enroll in likeness detection right in YouTube Studio, and then it will show you if anyone is trying to synthesize or artificially create your likeness. And then you can go in and you can take action on that. You can file, for example, a privacy claim on that. And we're also talking about in the future, maybe it can also be like content ID, where you can figure out licensing, and you can treat it like IP, and there'll be extra monetization possibilities for creators. So again, it's one of those things where you're using the core DNA of YouTube to embrace the challenges of all these new technologies.
And we talked a lot, obviously, from the creator perspective. What about from the brand perspective? Where are brands really starting to use YouTube and some of the AI capabilities?
Yeah, so we have a couple of really exciting things. One is we're going to start surfacing for brands in their version of the back end, people who are talking about their products. So for example, you might have been doing a series of videos on a famous sneaker brand and they never knew about it. And you might have the perfect audience for them. And now they'll be able to go in and see, hey, this person is making these highly effective videos, and they'll be able to reach out right through Studio to you or send an email to you. And we're also working on something I'm really excited about. I know Jon's super excited about it. Dynamic brand segment insertions.
Oh, yeah.
So with this, instead of just burning in a sponsorship that is vibrant for a month or a year, you'll be able to create an asset, insert it in the video, and then go to the brand and say, we'll run this for a month, run this for 2 months. Do you want to renew that? Maybe offer it to a different brand when it makes sense. Maybe go back to your back catalog that never had, you weren't a big creator, you didn't have those opportunities, and then work with brands on your back catalog. I think it's such enormous potential going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be a game changer. Like to unlock your back catalog, or to regionalize ads, or to be able to, because a lot of times when we were coming up, we sold our sponsorships to brands that they got an outsized result. And then if in the contract we capped it another year, and those videos have gotten 2-3 million views more since that expired, I would love the opportunity to put in another brand, another sponsor, reach our creator audience. And the fact that YouTube is building the infrastructure for that is just unparalleled. So I'm excited.
Great for brands too, because sometimes a video has a resurgence, or it gets its biggest bump after the initial deal is expired. And if the topic is hot now, if it's in the news, if there's a big announcement, you can go back to that video and get that new deal.
Yeah.
So it's almost becoming like a bit of a marketplace as well in terms of connecting, make it a lot easier for brands and creators to connect.
Yeah, I think that's what we have to do in this age, because the key thing is the audience and the relationship the audience has with the creators. That becomes invaluable, and that's what we're allowing the brands to tap into.
Yeah, and I also think you see more and more creators starting businesses, but that comes after building your catalog. And like, I'm really excited for that feature because I'm like, all right, we have this like catalog of like, 100 videos now, like shorts, long form, and for the long form ones that are still getting views, I'm like, okay, how great would it be to add a sponsor, to add a business that like we started, like we just like Varun is here from my team. We started a creator accounting company. So I'm like, when that launches, one of the things I want to test is how can I go back through my back catalog and put in a ad for the accounting company that we have, or another sponsor. And I think more and more, like, Jimmy having like Feastables or Ryan training with Joyride, there's those slots that you could put in retrospect when you didn't start the company, but you were making the content that's still getting views. That I think is really exciting.
To your previous point, geographies too, you'll be able to have potentially a different brand segment in the US than you do in the UK than you do in Japan, for example, which just unlocks different opportunities for different audiences.
It's huge.
So, John, what about from your perspective? I know you work with some big brands like Disney and Shopify. Again, for any CMOs, marketing leaders that are in the audience from a brand perspective, where should they get started working with creators?
Oh, I think a lot of people are in this room. You're like already working with creators, and I think where to get started is one thing we could talk about, but also like, but basically, I've been compiling a list of like the do's and don'ts of like working with creators, if that would be interesting to share. But I find that like some brands, like they are very like they're very specific about the offer and the campaign. And sometimes like, I find that the ones that do better is like just a landing page that includes the creator. Like we've seen like a big return with like sponsors who come to us and then customize a landing page, not just the URL, to have something about the video that they're coming in from or something about our channel avatar to say like, Jon Youshaei uses blank product. And that like helps a ton versus having a landing page for everybody. Rolling out different offers to different creators that you work with. I think from the brand standpoint, it's harder because then you have to like think about, oh, do we give 30% to this person? Do we give 1 month off to this person's audience? Or, like, how do you think about it? But audiences are very smart in that they'll know when a deal is not special or exclusive, or they've seen it before, or it's been part of a holiday campaign. So I think thinking about how, you make that very specific, exclusive to that audience, even if it's for a time period, goes a long way. And then I think a lot of other things that I encourage like brands or like, marketers that we work with is look at the creator's LinkedIn history and see if they've had a job working for somebody else. I know it sounds like crazy to think about, but for a sponsor and for a brand, we try to think about how do we make the process as easy as the output. How do we make things like smooth for them? And I find a lot of times when creators haven't worked a corporate job or they haven't had a boss before, they don't understand like that there's a lot of moving pieces and there's a lot of like ways to like try to measure return or like get to the end result, like reviews, talking points. And the folks who have had a job, white collar, blue collar, whatever it is, I find give a better process and a better like journey to getting that output. And I think that's really important when a lot of people are involved on the team and a big budget's on the line.
Yeah. And Rene, how about from your perspective, similar sort of question, like what do you see in terms of brands really getting it right when they're working with creators?
Yeah, I think two things. I'm going to steal the language from a colleague of mine, Andrew Leonard, who works with some of our most influential creators. Don't just look at breadth, look at depth. You can have a creator 100 times smaller convert 10 times higher than a huge creator just because they are that specific audience. They are beloved by that specific audience. So if you want just brand awareness, big creators are great. If you want conversions or you want to reach a specific audience, look for the people that audience relates to. And also, trust the creator to know that audience. Try not to be dictatorial. Sometimes they'll just say this, and then it's not authentic to the creator or to the audience. So work in a collaborative way. You can get more than the sum of the parts if you figure out with the creator how to best approach their audience.
Yeah, actually, Rene makes such a good point. The thing I would also add on is look at the creator's depth and formats, because a lot of times, like, we'll have different formats. Like we have our interview format, we have our breakdown where we have this monitor and they break down scene by scene of a video, and then we have behind the scenes. And some of the more sophisticated sponsors will give us different rates based on the format. Some of them will just say, hey, like, we're just looking for a video. But I think really being keyed into their audience and not just looking at subscriber count and not just looking at video, but format could really go a long way as well.
That's a great point, because someone will look at a video with 10 million viewers and another video with 10 million viewers and think they're the same viewers. And quite often they're not.
Yeah, I'm going to go off script a little bit. Can we talk about the games, Mr. Beast games? Like, I know you did an amazing behind the scenes series. What was that like? What was that experience? And like, how did you come up with that idea to spend the 45 days on set and come up with that different type of content?
Oh, that was, I mean, for context, we spent 45 days filming with Jimmy, doing behind the scenes. And it started, I give all the credit to their team. So it started in season 1. We got invited to do behind the scenes of 2 of their episodes, episode 7 and then the finale. We were like one of the only ones on set able to see who the winner was. So I was keeping that secret for so long. And those videos popped off really well on YouTube. And then Jimmy like called me and was like, hey, season 2 is happening. How would you like to do like behind the scenes for the entire thing? I'm like, the entire thing? He's like, yeah, we're going to 4 countries. It's 45 days. And like, you know, like think about like how to make this a real production. Cause this would be the official docuseries that'll go on Prime Video as well as YouTube. And now on YouTube that's been out, it's had 45 million views. And we just looked at the stats, and in the across our 7 episodes, they've gotten over 5 million views each, which is somehow, I can't believe I'm saying this, is more than the average viewership of The Last Dance documentary when it aired during COVID, like during its debut.
YouTube is where the eyeballs are.
That's right. That's right. So to see that kind of viewership on YouTube, but that was just an amazing experience. And what was even more amazing of documenting it was being around Jimmy and seeing how they made content, because we also had to scale up our team really quickly. So we had over 30 people working on these videos, like 30 people. And I didn't even realize this is a thing, but the Guinness World Records that like Jimmy and the team, like they love and have a great relationship with, they gave us the Guinness World Record for the largest behind the scenes crew on a TV show ever. Wow. So we had everything from like sound mixers to like boom operators to camera operators, and we're just rotating them to keep up with Jimmy's schedule, the contestants. We had DITs like storing our footage. We had unscripted editors, producers, like it's just a whole thing. And I think what I learned was just how to up-level our content, like up-level our storage, up-level our post-production. But really, like afterwards, you also, like Jimmy took a look at our videos, and those meetings were like being a singer and getting notes from Taylor Swift. Like he would be like, hey, I like this, but do that, think about that. And some of the feedback was hard to hear, but honestly, it's changed every single way we look at our other videos. And ever since, like, I mean, these have come out in the past few weeks, we've hit this inflection point on our channel that more people are reaching out to do interviews, documentaries, but then more of our audience is discovering our back catalog, which I think is one of the biggest gifts of YouTube. Is like they come and then they binge. If you've done the work over the years to think about every video as a standalone great product to ultimately build that library.
What I'm hearing is you need someone to go behind the scenes of your behind the scenes now.
God, yeah, just a ton of stress, and yeah. So, but yeah, it was exhilarating, and just the biggest like I thank Jimmy all the time. I'm like, that was a life-changing thing, you know. So
yeah. That's awesome. Rene, you gave an example of what brands should not do in terms of, ensuring that the creators stay authentic. Any other hot takes, any other inputs of, without naming the brands, like any things you've seen which you're like, absolutely do not do these things for either of you?
Come on, Rene, don't hold back.
No,
give us the tea.
I think it really is about having that relationship with the creator and understanding their audience and understanding the goals. Because like nobody wants to have to go back. Nobody wants to do a make-do. Nobody wants to ask for new creative. Nobody wants delays. Everyone wants a great result. So I think if you go in with good faith and you really are collaborative by nature and you figure out the deliverables up front and you know where it's going, what's going on, everyone is informed, you're going to get a great product.
Any other thoughts?
I think the other thing is don't be afraid to be on like close communication with the creator. Like I try to, any CMO, CEO that's like working with us with a brand deal, I try to like give them my number, give them my email address. Like I'm like, I know how big of a deal it is to give budget to a creator. And like these decisions like are not made lightly. Like, and so I always think about, all right, how can I make myself directly accessible in case they have any thoughts, any ideas, if there's changes that they're seeing in the market, in their product. And then I also think about like a video is like the most public facing form of a sponsorship, but we've had a lot of sponsors come to us and be like, hey, can we buy 3 videos on your channel? And then can we also hire you for monthly consulting on our product to get a creator's point of view? So I think thinking about the buffet, in addition to the entree that is the YouTube sponsorship, is another way to expand the pie. Yeah.
How do you balance that with, I know like timing's a really important thing in your videos, like when to put in the sponsor, when not to put in the sponsor, when to have the CTAs. How do you balance that?
Contractually. So I think like we try to put it in that it's in the first third or the first 50%. We try to very much define like how long the integration is. We try to define, and this is my business partner and wife Amanda. Like she very much like has like thought through all these things on the paperwork side, but it's like, all right, this many rounds of revisions. And honestly, if I'm being honest, like I try to, I'm like, okay, we're not, if they want a few more revisions, fine. But there was one experience we had with a brand before we put this in our contracts that the revisions just were endless. So at least setting expectations of like, what we do is one round of revisions on script, one round of revisions on video. But of course, I always want to make sure they're happy. So that's like another thing that's important to put guardrails on.
I have a hot take. Can this be a safe space?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I think it also depends on what you want out of the sponsorship. If what you want is brand awareness, doing it in the beginning, in the early part where the most eyeballs are great. If you want pure conversions, do it at the very, very end. It's like the gift shop on a ride. Nobody wants to get out the ride. Either they'll stay on the ride and completely ignore your gift shop, or they'll be stuck carrying something later, or they'll just leave. So if you want, like,
that's a good metaphor.
When they're bored, I stole that from Dave Wiskus. When you want to finish the video, they're desperate for something to do, and if they're like really strong audience, they'll be with you to the end. They'll want that next action, and you can make that your CTA.
I love it. Well, look, as we wrap up, for any marketing leaders in the room, like what's one key takeaway in this AI first creator economy? What's one key takeaway you want them to leave this session with? Let's start with you, Jon.
Find the creators who are punching above their weight class. Like there is so many great creators coming up, and even like I think about the brands that like took a chance on us when we were coming up, like, and they've renewed since. I will always try to like they like go above and beyond for them. I will always try to think about like how I could expand the pie or do more, because they saw what we were trying to do before we got to the point that we're at. And even now it's like, okay, when a brand comes in, they like, hey, we want to expand the pie, think about all this stuff. It just, yeah, like the subscriber count, the view count, like it doesn't always tell the full story. And I think there's new ways to discover that talent, because YouTube just really brings out that new crop of creators, and it's a cycle that just keeps growing if you know where to look.
Yeah, I would just say like partnership. Don't treat AI as a typing monkey. Don't treat creators as a dancing monkey. Use them to enhance your, like, build relationships, use them to enhance things, use them to better that unique creativity you have inside of you.
I love that. Well, a big plus one on the kind of more niche creators as well. It's something that Lada's been doing over the last few days here in South by. We activated a number of different creators who have been bringing our brand campaign to life, and it's been a great experience working with them, and hopefully to see them grow their own audiences and soar as well. Thank you both.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.